Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Gran Turismo 7 Daily Race and Strategy Guide. We're off to Suzuka International Circuit in Japan, and we are in the SF19s, better known as the Super Formula cars. 10 laps to get round for this race, tyre wear at times 7, fuel at times 2, racing soft and medium tyres are both available, both compounds of which are said to be mandatory. BOP is on, damage is light, it's a grid start which I would assume has a false start check, and slipstream is real. Now the settings for this are fairly normal, however Nenkai, who gives us the settings for these races, has done a follow-up tweet saying we have to expect rain in Daily Race C. Now that doesn't quite work out with the fact that we have two different compounds of tyres that are mandatory. It seems to me that if you have to change tyres for your rain tyres, then it's unlikely you will have ran either both the soft and medium tyres, so either something is wrong with what Nenkai has revealed, or something unusual is going to happen in this one. I will talk about what could happen with rain a little bit later in the video, but going forward I'm just going to approach this from the strategy that it's a dry race and how it's going to work out with the soft and the medium tyres. And the first thing we need to take a look at is that grid start. As I said, it should be with a false start check. Sometimes they do that, sometimes they don't, but one thing you do want to make sure for these Super Formula cars is to use traction control off the line, as you want to avoid that wheel spin. If you don't have traction control on, you'll spin the tyres up and you'll actually do quite a lot of tyre wear to them as well, because the tyre wear in this one is actually pretty brutal, because Suzuka is just one of these tracks that chews the tyres up. Tyre wear pretty high at times 7, and we have the soft tyres available as well. So how long are these soft tyres going to last? That's the first question I wanted to explore in this one. So jumping forward here to lap 5, and you pretty much have your answer. We're coming down the back straight towards 130R, and you can see we have pretty much no tread left on the rear tyre, so definitely rear tyre limited in this one. We don't know if brake balance is going to be available. If it is, it should help you to balance that tyre wear out a little bit. But yeah, these tyres have not got another lap in them. Definitely time to go into the pits and get those tyres changed. One thing I will add, and we'll take a look at it a little bit closer when we do the alternative strategy, is that the tyre performance, even though you run them all the way down to the canvas, they don't actually degrade in performance that much. Even when they only had a sliver of white there, they still performed pretty well in the corners. But as we leave the pits here, pit loss is going to come in at 17.5 seconds. Fuel's no issue whatsoever for this one, and you shouldn't have too much trouble negotiating the white lines either. So 17.5 second pit loss. Let's remember that when we discuss the wet weather as well. So how are these medium tyres performing in relation to the soft tyres? Well, we did a 16.8 on the soft tyres, definitely not the best lap. We actually messed up spoon in pretty much every one of our soft laps, so we should have been doing maybe like a 36.4, 36.5. And our medium tyres coming in around about 8 tenths of a lap slower than the soft tyres. So even the last lap that we did on the soft tyres was still quite comparable to our best laps on the medium tyres. As I said, even though we ran the soft tyres all the way down to the canvas, they still actually perform pretty strong, even though they appear to be very well borne. So is an undercut actually possible? Because we're looking at 5 laps on the soft tyres, 5 laps on the medium tyres. If you're really bad on your tyre wear, you might even just be looking at 4 laps on the soft tyres and 6 laps on the mediums. So can we actually do an undercut of some kind if we look after the soft tyres after changing off the mediums? Well, that's what we tried to do here. We'll try and do 4 laps on the mediums and then 6 laps on the soft tyres. So on the last lap here, and you can see we are definitely, tyre wear is at a premium as we come into the hairpin, around about halfway into the lap. So we have looked after the tyres a little bit, the fuel's a little bit lower, but we are definitely struggling to make these tyres last that 6th lap. But as I said a little bit earlier on in the video, the performance of the tyres, even when they are severely worn, is not that bad compared to when they are completely fresh. So a 136.2, and then you can just see the lap times are dropping off by a couple of attempts per lap. Obviously the fuel's burning off as well, but if you look at the 9th lap there on the soft tyres, and we're going to come to the checkpoint here, 1.1 seconds down, But if you look at the lap times on the soft tyres, they're still all faster than any lap we did on the mediums. So it's definitely worth running the softs all the way down to the canvas, even when they've only got 10% wear left on them, 15% wear. They do appear to actually be quicker than fresh mediums. So that's kind of what you're looking at for this one. Run the soft tyres for as long as you can, depending on how good your tyre wear is, and then do the rest of the laps on the mediums. 16 minutes 29, so a pretty short daily race C, which does give scope to maybe some wet weather being flung in there to maybe extend this race up towards that 20-minute mark. And as I said, we're going to talk about the possibility of wet weather in just a wee minute. Let's just quickly run through the strategy options. So your optimal strategies, you're looking at 4 softs, 6 mediums, or 5 softs, 5 mediums, or of course the vice versa of doing that, 6, starting on the mediums and then finishing on the softs. How you're going to do that is dependent on where you're starting on the grid. If you're starting at the front, you've got a bit of clean air, starting the soft tyres is probably the better option, trying to escape into the distance. If you're at the back, then you can't use the potential of the soft tyres, so you're going to be better off on the medium tyres. And your undercut strategy, which is not going to be possible for everyone, is 4 mediums and 6 softs. As I said, not going to be possible for everyone. You've got to be a little bit of a twinkle toes on the tyres to try and get 6 laps out of them. You can do it, we just about managed to get there, so it's definitely possible. But yeah, I think most people are going to be looking at 5 or 4 soft, 6 medium, rather than thinking about an undercut. But that's pretty much it for your strategy options. This is a legacy of the current tyre wear model that we are working. Under the old tyre wear model, you would have much more scope for an undercut. Try and escape that dirty air is going to be a big issue for this one. One of the worst tracks for dirty air, certainly one of the worst car categories for dirty air. You're going to hear dirty air said a lot if you're watching live streams this week. And one other thing just to cover is that possibility of rain. As I said, if we're going to have changeable weather or random weather, then it doesn't quite work in with the fact we have a couple of mandatory tyre compounds. The only thing I can think of that maybe the plan for this one, maybe what Nenkai spotted, is there could be a little bit of a shower towards the last couple of laps. What that's going to mean is that both people should have ran both tyre compounds by that point of the race. And then you've got that decision to make when the rain comes, if it does come. Are you going to go into the pits and change tyres? Are you going to try and survive on the slick tyres? Remember, the pit loss is 17.5 seconds, so if the rain was to come pretty heavily in the last couple of laps, then it's probably worth taking that 17.5 second loss to get the right tyres on the car rather than trying to soldier around with those slick tyres. That's the only way I can really see how they're going to have the soft and medium tyres available, and also some rain in the race. But you know, it all remains a mystery. All will be revealed tomorrow. This video might actually be completely useless for all I know. Okay then, let's finish the video off as always with a lap guide. Coming over the start finish line, I think we're in the Toyota variant of the Super Formula car. We're on the soft tyres. I should have mentioned we haven't actually used the boost button at any point over this video, just to try and keep things nice and even. Coming into turn 1, you want to be accelerating almost all the way down to that curb on the right hand side there. That's my kind of braking reference. Down 3 gears from 6th gear into 3rd. Try and hug the apex here on the power as early as possible. And we're coming into the S's. Full throttle through this first S. Just a dab of the brakes, a lift off the throttle for the second part. Again, dab of the brakes, a tiny lift of the throttle for the 3rd. A little bit more brakes required for the 4th. And then it's full throttle through Dunlop curb towards the Degners. Very satisfying when you get it right. But if you get a little bit offline, it can be hard to recover. Just before the 50 metre board, you're in 6th gear, just down 1 gear, chuck the car in with a lot of confidence. Try not to take too much curb, it will upset the balance and you will have to try and correct it. Coming down to Degner 2, I use the end of the curb as a reference, but I am braking a good bit before that. Down into 3rd gear, lots of curb there taken by me on the throttle. Try to look after those rear tyres. So that's why I use 3rd gear through there. End of the curb, the sort of traditional braking point for the hairpin. Down into 2nd gear for the hairpin. Keep it nice and tight. Get the car straightened up as quickly as possible. I use 2nd gear again, just try to look after those rear tyres. We are rear tyre limited around this track. And onto the straight, or the meandering straight if you like, on the way up to Spoon. It's the usual braking point for Spoon. It's a little path just before the 50 metre board. Down into 4th gear, carry a lot of speed in here, a lot of confidence required here, but if the car drifts wide you know you will be in trouble. Into the second part of Spoon, we didn't quite get it into the apex there, easy to understeer wide as well, and we're on the throttle up the hill down towards 130R. No surprises, that 130R is absolutely easy full throttle in these cars. Soft mediums, worn tyres, the works. And just before the 100 metre board to brake for the chicane. Remember, if the 100 metre board gets taken out, there is one on the wall at the side as well. Maybe braking about 105, 110 metres. Don't take quite as much curb through the Casio triangle as you used to in GT Sport. Be careful on the exit, because if the tyres are pretty badly worn, you can get a little touch of oversteer there, which could ruin a good lap. But that's pretty much it. That's a lap guide of Suzuka. That's pretty much the strategy covered. Will the rain come? If it does, this video essentially becomes pretty useless. But as I said, the only way I can see soft medium tyres being available and rain being in the race is the way we outlined earlier. But yeah, it's not going to be for everyone, this combination. These kind of cars tend to turn a lot of people off, to be perfectly honest with you. You tend to find that the field spread is massive as well. But regardless, we'll certainly jump into it. We'll do a couple of live streams, see how we get on. And if the rain comes, it should make things a little bit more interesting. But hopefully the video has been useful in some way, shape or form. If it has, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.